What's up, everybody? I'm Chris, and I'm reviewing every episode of The Office ever. And today, we're talking about Shareholders Meeting. Alright guys, I filmed the last 3 episodes back to back to back more than a month ago, so I feel a little out of practice here. I'm also back in my home office, trying to work out some sound quality issues overall, hence the microphone here.
We're going bankrupt, you think?
I hope this works. Also, I have some stuff to show you while I'm here too. So we have so much stuff to get to today, including a breakdown of Recyclops,
destroy!
his evolution, and the origins of his primary villain. We're going to be talking about some little hidden goodies in this one and have some fun with the deeper meaning. So with that, let's get the meeting started.
Rock and roll!
Warning! Warning! Warning!
I understand nothing.
All right, let's start with where this episode actually starts.
Not again.
Bow down before Recyclop!
So this is part of NBC's annual Green Week, if you didn't know, which I think Survivor Man from season 4 actually fell into this Green Week as well.
And this little guy may be Dunder Mifflin paper someday.
I'm not sure if there was a season 5 counterpart.
Little breakfast place with really good bacon.
But we for sure get this gem of a cold opening nestled in the first half of season 6. I love these snapshots in time we get, and it does lend some credence to the idea that the doc crew were there filming all the time, filming stuff that we never got to see in the final cut of the documentary. And that's the in-universe explanation, but in reality, this kind of thing must have been just so much fun to actually pull off. We get Jim hanging out at Pam's desk, Jim's wearing Jim hair, and Pam's, wearing classic Pam stuff. Classic Jim and Pam. Then we have Ryan at the desk for some reason, which might have been, like when Pam was on vacation during season 2's The Carpet. And we get this great callback to season 5's Ronnie at the desk during the weight loss episode.
Ronnie was blech.
Which, in that episode's defense, they were flying through tons of content. I don't even blame them for cutting Recyclops from that episode. For Recyclops himself, we see him eventually transition from the peaceful, hacky-sack playing, environmentally conscious, three-eyed Cyclops, and I just realized that sentence makes no sense, to eventually evolving into a robot. And is he a robot? I don't really know.
Wait, are you a robot or a Martian?
His fictional planet was attacked by some other fictitious thing.
But it not only perfectly fits the theme of this episode, which we'll get into during the deeper meaning, but it also fits perfectly with how Dwight tends to take things to the extreme over time.
Give me the jump! Give me the jump!
I'm not going to give it to you.
But I also think there's some commentary on how Hollywood has commented on environmental conservation issues over time. Starting with very simple and kind and almost hippie stuff into these full-fledged disaster movies in which millions or billions of people are wiped out due to their own, malfeasance.
It's just malfeasance for malfeasance's sake.
Stupid humans.
Humans are terrible for the environment!
But as promised, it seems that Recyclops' main adversary, either intentionally or not, is a real villain from the first season of The Power Rangers.
I thought you were killed by Poluticorn.
Poluticorn wishes!
Ran here in the early 90s, and I totally watched it as a 90s kid. Rita Repulsa creates Poluticorn to stop the efforts of the Power Rangers to clean the Earth, which only seems to be happening in Angel Grove, and was only led by Trini, who I did not have a crush on as a young Wolverine. Okay, I totally did. Anyway, Poluticorn's powers are described as having super strength, great hand-to-hand combat abilities, the power of flight, energy balls, a toxic wind power, and something called lightning vision. So Recyclops in his heyday must have also had super strength, the ability to perform combat at a close range, as well as from a distance. And so seeing these two have a great battle would have truly been an event for the ages. I don't have the budget to replicate a Recyclops versus Poluticorn battle, but I'm sure your imagination would be better than anything I could produce on the fly.
Dream
big, right?
What I do have is this sweet artwork by Billy Martin and signed by Rainn Wilson himself. It's pretty freaking awesome. It came in an Ultra BAM box I signed up for forever ago, and it showed up in my house last week. This isn't a paid sponsorship thing. I don't get paid if you buy one. I just thought it was cool. What am I even talking about all this for? I don't even know. What even is this show anymore? Recyclops never makes an appearance again, but I'm going to be holding out hopes that someday I'll be able to play a video game in which you can play Recyclops in like a fully 3D rendered post-apocalyptic Scranton. And speaking of games, I wanted to tell you guys real quick about a game that somebody sent me a couple weeks ago, which is Guess Who? The Office Edition. And again, this isn't a paid thing. Like, I get nothing if you go buy it or check it out. I just thought it was neat, and I wanted to spotlight some stuff like this as we get closer to The Office, because I like GIFs, and some of my family watches this, and I think they're great ideas for GIFs for me. But anyway, the moment this thing came, my daughter and I shredded it open, and we played the game for like 2 hours. Somehow, I have an Office-themed YouTube channel, and she's 14, and she's still better at this game than me. Anyway, I'll leave the link in the description if you want to check it out. If you have any Office products you think I should look at on the show, then just send me an email. So the bulk of Shareholder Meeting is like in the prep work for the meeting, then the meeting itself, and then this brief feel-good conclusion to the meeting.
Dunder Mifflin!
I got you some.
No, but I wanted to eat it while we were driving in the limo. That's the whole thing.
The B plot revolves around Jim battling to claim his authority he actually already does have over the rest of the office staff. I love the marriage dynamics here.
I forgot I have to support him no matter what. Close one.
But that's not going to be much in the deeper meaning. We could talk about that all day, though. That's really all I wanted to call out during this B plot, other than it resolves, good.
Enjoy it.
But let's get into this meeting.
You're all corrupt. You should be in jail.
Michael's prep work for this little acknowledgement is awesome, starting with deciding on what nonverbal to act out.
Don't do the twirl.
Lose the twirl.
Twirl sucks.
Michael, I hated the twirl. Hate the twirl!
I don't really know why, but I hate the twirl. That whole bit just lives in my mind all the time. And then the subsequent talking head where Michael's evolving his thoughts about the twirl.
I am not going to do the twirl, all right? It's not even a twirl, it's a spin. I might do the spin.
There's that word again, evolving. Might be important for later.
Well, I'm evolving, man.
Anyway, this talking head about the twirl, I love it as well. Really, Michael's been on this search for significance for quite some time now. And the first half of his day is in danger of giving him a real false sense of it.
It's not a limo, it's a town car. Town cars are actually better, though. Better torque, better handling.
He said limousine, so.
Check it out, guys. There's a limo down here.
It's interesting that Dunder Mifflin sent him a real limo this time, to Michael's delight, when they didn't send one last time.
Starting with the airport shuttle, which was basically just a van.
Probably something to keep in mind there for the deeper meaning too. I love this limo driver though.
When you, what?
The car seat's 8.
The limo seat's 8.
But I do think this cut makes absolutely no sense.
Who's playing with the button?
First, in universe, I guess that means that a cameraman rode up front with the guy for 2 hours. What would that be like?
Dull.
But two, this cameraman definitely wasn't there, otherwise we'd see him in this shot. Does that matter? Nope.
Nope.
Just something I noticed along the way. Again, we see that Michael has absolutely no idea what makes his branch successful. And that's a bit that I'll never get tired of.
Michael Scott, you run the most profitable branch of Dunder Mifflin. How do you do it?
No, that's too hard.
I'll be talking about Michael's behavior during the actual meeting, during the deeper meeting. But this Dwight trying to get into line bit is always great.
Excuse me.
Ah, damn it.
What? Okay.
I always wonder why they put this bit as the stinger instead of showing it chronologically.
If this line is any indication of how this company is being run, then we are in big trouble.
If, like me, you didn't know, Erntedankfest is a German holiday, which is similar but not identical to the US's Thanksgiving.
If onlys and justs were candies and nuts, then every day would be earned to Donkfest.
Which does feel rooted in Dwight's upbringing.
It is either an incense dispenser or a ceremonial sarcophagus.
We get to see a little bit more of Oscar and Andy's relationship that budded back in season 5's business trip.
Do you want to be able to tell your grandkids you stood up for yourself during America's biggest financial crisis?
Ed Helms doing this talking head is a delight.
At the last second, I chickened out, took it anyway, got a 12.20. Always regretted it. I feel lachrymose.
Right, with that, let's dive into the deeper meaning.
What does a bean mean?
Someone please explain it to Cat.
For a while now, there's been signs that the foundations over at Dunder Mifflin Corporate have been cracking.
Is this because of the 60 Minutes segment about working conditions in our Peruvian paper mill?
And really, it's been going on even further back than that, as far as season 1, episode 1.
Is Josh concerned about downsizing himself? Not downsizing himself, but is he concerned about downsizing?
The downsizing plotline lasted through season 3, culminating in the merger episode. But the troubles, if you're looking for it, didn't really stop there. In season 4, we know that Ryan cost the company tons of money. All of that coming to a head at the beginning of the murder episode.
Bankruptcy?
No.
And this joke is one I didn't really talk about too much in the murder episode because really I wanted to expand on it here in the shareholders meeting.
It's $1.99 to finish the article. I wonder what it was going to say.
Are you serious?
Oh, the wall.
I'm like an early onset of a millennial, depending on what website you go to define the ranges. But regardless, I grew up in mostly the internet age. So from a very young age, for me, and based on my analytics, most of y'all, we've operated mostly in a digital world. Thus, a paper company attempting to survive in this climate has to be hyper-focused, and this has come up several times in the show.
But there's 5 Goliaths. There's Staples, Office Max.
But also in season 4, when Ryan's trying to modernize the digital presence of the company.
May I have your attention, please? This office will not be using any new technology ever, starting now.
That is not correct.
Now, it's true in some sense that we probably won't ever get away from using some paper, but the industry's been on decline for years.
Oh God, I practically invented decline, right?
And that's predominantly what Dunder Mifflin's main issue is, which is why the joke from Murder hits so hard.
I wonder what it was going to say.
That's because The Wall is a 100-something-year-old company which was forced to modernize in the digital age, which was clunky and weird at first, and yet now feels as though it's always been that way, which is such a prime example of a company who would be a major consumer of paper products is now moving their business to the web.
Is there internet?
Along with almost every other type of company as they attempt to modernize. The other issue that Dunder Mifflin faces, in light of declining need for their products, are department stores and big box stores scooping up small to medium-sized companies, as they can keep the company's infrastructure and clients and absorb their business and support it in their products and platform, rather than simply having one product. This is basically what we see Saber do within just the next few episodes.
Don't think of yourselves as paper salesmen anymore, but as printer salesmen who also sell paper.
But we're gonna get there. So with the declining market, no growth model to be had, and no prospects for being purchased, what is the company's leadership doing?
There is no plan.
And here's where we get into dangerous, Wolverine has no idea what he's talking about territory. I actually think that this...
And you can take that to the bank! And limo lady, we're going completely carbon neutral!
is a crime. Now, Michael clearly didn't know he was lying, and that's basically just how he handles business in general.
All of you are getting bonuses for $1,000.
Yeah!
No, it's not true. I was just talking.
Along with life.
I just hope I find it along the way. Like an improv conversation. Improvisation.
But Alan already lied to them before this.
Dunder Mifflin is still a strong company, and we are poised to come through this more streamlined and profitable than ever.
Now, what's considered criminal and what's just considered preservation of your stock assets or douchiness?
What a douchebag!
I don't really know. What I do know is this whole thing feels really scuzzy. Oscar's approach at the beginning of the episode of dumping things that don't make them money and stop spending money on things that don't make them money.
So typical of management to spend money on this. Oh, a bunch of boobs.
Seems to be an appropriate next step for anyone who's actually trying to save the company.
How are you gonna fix the company?
Which they're clearly not.
Who cares?
Oscar standing in front of these guys is a super awkward moment where he's kind of both facing, should he speak up and tell them, what he really thinks or not? Well, I guess I've never really known how to read what Oscar does here. Maybe he's just scared to speak up for fear of being fired.
Oscar Martinez,
You are fired.
Me das una úlcera cada vez que me despierto y tengo que venir para trabajar para ti. Hey, stop it!
Or maybe he has like an insecure moment where he's thinking everyone in this room has probably already thought of everything that he might be thinking of, so he's got none really to share.
Where's the off button on this moron?
I'm not really sure. It's also possible to read this as it's much easier to criticize business people than to actually be the one that figures it out.
Actually, we're in a mild recession right now. I'll give you that.
Where I think this gets scuzzy is that every dude in this room, while they're going to be fired eventually, is going to end up staying rich or getting richer out of this predicament, while all of these people are going to be at a loss. And for Michael, for all of his flaws, he literally never considers screwing people over like this.
hate to break it to you, Oscar, but some of us like boobs.
And that's what's so wholesome about this cringe-inducing outburst on stage.
It's a 45-day, 45 point, 1 point per day. We get to 45 points. We're back in business.
Michael never once considered that there was no plan to fix the company. And he is so shocked when he finds out that there is no plan.
There is no plan.
Dunder Mifflin might have been better off if they both modernized their production, which I think has been proven impossible for a paper company to be carbon neutral. But regardless, they needed to modernize their production, diversify their product offerings.
Paper for women.
And really been the shark, scooping up small paper providers.
The little shark eats the littler shark, and so on and so on and so on, until you get down to the single cell shark.
And just overall evolving, which is what the wall did.
Oh, the wall.
Which is what Jim had to do.
Your new office.
And it's the same type of evolution that we see in Recyclops.
Recyclops will have his revenge.
And that's what's so wholesome about this cringe-inducing outburst on stage. So while in our fictional universe, there's so many questions and uncertainty for all of our characters. But in the real world, this episode's commentary on the business world hits its target in such a potent way. And yet, as they do, this episode ends with the guys sticking it to the man in solidarity with each other.
You're the moron.
And while this limo ride back to Scranton wouldn't be a blip on Dunder Mifflin's budget, it seemed to unify these guys, and I kind of like that. So this has been How to Run a Business According to The Office by Mulverine. Join us next time as we talk about how to help the younger generation succeed.
Hey, Mr. Scott, what you gonna do? What you gonna do to make our dreams come true?
Oh boy, that's going to be an awesome episode. Got some big plans for that one. For now, let's rate Shareholder Meeting.
This is the worst.
Okay, I love cold openings like this. It's just a great idea, it's great execution, and serve the deeper meaning. I talked about it enough, I think, already. 5 out of 5, Recyclops all the way.
Recyclops destroy!
We do find out later that Dunder Mifflin Scranton doesn't actually recycle.
Oh, we don't recycle.
You don't? Why have I been separating the trash into whites and colors?
But, Saber might have changed that, I don't know.
The scourge of the environment.
As for this episode, this one definitely feels more grounded in the real world. Like, we get to see Michael's craziness, like Michael's shenanigans, bounced off real citizens of the earth, And unfortunately, no one reacts to him at all, except for like the one flight plan guy from Armageddon.
Where's the off button on this moron?
But as much as I love the writing in this one, I can't quite give it a 5 out of 5, as there is just that one main problem with the episode, and that it's literally Michael would not be allowed to operate like he does in this episode. These shareholder meetings like this are extremely scripted, meticulously planned, and executed to a T. They would have pulled the plug, and actually, even saying that, they would have literally never even given him a live mic.
We're going bankrupt, you think?
He's clearly only intended to do a wave.
You were supposed to wave.
And seeing the rest of the execs just sit there staring forward while Michael's shredding up their message is quite unrealistic. That takes me out of the immersion a little bit, but I think that might be my only complaint. I think this is a fantastic episode that hits on some great commentary, shows some complex character growth situations, and has laughs from beginning to end. Out of all of the episodes that could get an hour-long treatment, I actually think this one would benefit from a little bit longer runtime. So I'm curious to see if Peacock does something fun with this, like fan episode, super fan episode, whatever you call it. Anyway, overall, I give this one a 4 out of 5. Okay, this episode went way longer than I thought. But for next week's episode, Scott's Tots, we're going to have some special guests coming in to help analyze that one. If you liked this video, consider giving it a like. It literally helps me out so much. Even if you're like me and you never really like to like videos, give this one a like, especially if you made it this far. It supposedly helps me out, and with the algorithm, I don't really know. But that's all I have to say about Shareholders Meeting. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.